Welcome back to another episode, and today I get to release my inner Sega fanboy and talk about the Genesis and when I first got it and first played it. Man, the memories come flooding back when I think back to 1989, and they actually started with this magazine here as one of the magazines at the time that was showing the Sega Genesis, this brand new machine from Sega. And I was excited about it. You know, I just love it. It says Sega's New Beginning. This was a brand new thing in 1989. I remember flipping through this magazine and just getting so excited looking at Sega's New Beginning. And, you know, it was showing all the, launch games, and man, I'm telling you, like looking at Ghouls and Ghosts and Last Battle and even Tommy Lasorda's baseball, and I'm not a big sports fan, but the Genesis was bringing the arcade experience home, and I couldn't believe it. It was a very exciting time to be a video gamer. So like many children in 1989, I bugged my parents for a Genesis, and luckily enough, I woke up Christmas morning to this wonderful, wonderful console. Like, oh man, it's so nostalgic holding it, and I pulled it off the shelf earlier and I was looking at the design again, and I was just like, I remember when I first saw this design, I just thought it was so futuristic and cool looking, and I love the headphone jack and everything about it. I like this whole round thing here. I liked everything about this. I just thought it was fantastic. Now, when I opened it up and took it out of the box the very first time, this is the thing that actually surprised me the most, was the controller. I couldn't believe how big the controller was and how big the buttons were. Coming off the NES was a very small controller compared to this. I remember grabbing this controller, I'm like, oh my god, like I don't know if I'll be able to get used to this. It was so different and so cool that, it took me a matter of about 15 minutes and I fell in love with it. I thought it was great. I just love the big buttons. It was so, that's the big thing to me. The controller was massive at the time. It's great to open up a system Christmas morning, to unpack it and to hook it up to your, your TV, and I hooked it up to, I think, our 26-inch television. Then, yeah, we had a smaller TV, then we upgraded to a 26-inch TV, which is a big deal. But I got to play some games, and the initial game that everybody got was Altered Beast. Now, a lot of people have talked about Altered Beast, and I'm going to say my little piece about it. I love Altered Beast. I saw it in an arcade in Hawaii in 1987, this huge screen, and I was blown away by it. It was so cool that this was a game that you just got with a system, and I couldn't believe when I first put it in how cool it looks. Now, this game was over fast. That was the one thing that was kind of like, oh damn, it's over fast, because I liked the game, I loved the graphics, I loved the arcade experience at home, and that's what Altered Beast is to me. The arcade experience at home, and done very well. I remember my friend had Altered Beast on the Master System, and it didn't capture the arcade feel, so very cool to actually get this. The big game that I got that Christmas morning that had a huge impact on me, and I absolutely love it, and that is Hakuto no Ken, The Last Battle, as it was renamed over here. Wow, this game blew my mind. I couldn't believe the size of the characters on the screen at that time. And here's another little funny thing. I remember I first put it in, I got it all hooked up, and my sister did not like video games at all. She had no interest in them, it wasn't her thing. But I remember I was playing the very first level and I was walking through the city, and you can see the parallax scrolling, right? Which was like 3 layers, and you couldn't believe that at the time. And my sister was like, oh wow, look at that. That's like 3D. And she was impressed. And that made me more excited. You know, it's kind of funny. I was like, yeah, isn't that amazing? You know, and it was very cool. I guess always got a fun memory of my sister seeing that parallax scrolling and we were all blown away. It was like seeing 3D gaming for the first time. It was awesome. But I love this game. And this game was very difficult, but I had a lot of time off during Christmas. I became an expert at it. And I'm still pretty good at it to this day. Me and Rob pulled it out probably about 5 months ago when we played all the way through it, and Rob was having a hard time with it, but I remember all the patterns that you had to do to get through certain levels and stuff like that. But you know, I was really impressed by Last Battle. I couldn't believe it. Obviously in the Japanese version there was a lot of blood, but that obviously got removed for the North American version. But you know, as a launch title, a side view action game, oh, wonderful stuff. Now that was it for Christmas. Those are the only games I got, and I was very, very happy with that. But my friend Andrew came from down the street and he had Space Harrier 2. Wow, I love Space Harrier. I used to do the old sit-down one in the arcades, and when I got a chance to see Space Harrier 2 on the Genesis, wow, I couldn't believe it. The 3D going through, again, you know, I was blown away that Christmas morning, and it's funny, I remember Andrew, he wasn't that impressed. He's like, yeah, it's okay, it's not that great, and I was like, my God, dude, that's incredible. I was blown away Christmas morning. I was happy to get anything I could. A little bit after that, I got Super Thunderblade. This was a great game, and very difficult. Not a lot of frames of animation, but still at the time I played it every day after school, because that's what you did. I only had about 4 games, so I'd play them over and over and over again. And Super Thunderblade, great memories of that. I love the music, but it was very difficult because you didn't have a lot of frames of animation. It was very choppy, so you'd be flying through and you'd get hit by something. It was very frustrating, and I did my best to be as good as I could at this game. I could never get as good as I wanted to be, though. Now, some friends of mine down the street had this game, Forgotten Worlds by Capcom. I think I've talked about this before. Love it, man, love it. Another beautiful looking game on the Genesis. Side view action game, shooting game. And wow, I remember just being blown away, you know, with the huge, bosses you can see on the back here. I was just looking at that. The huge bosses, the cinematics with your 2 Schwarzenegger-esque characters in there, but Forgotten Worlds, yeah, it's a forgotten game for Capcom now, that's for sure. You know of my love for ghouls and ghosts, and oh my God, this game just blew my mind. Like this was a friend of mine's copy down the street as well, but I just loved this game. I couldn't believe how great it was, and this was back then one of my favorite games on the Genesis. I would play this game religiously. Like, as I say, a lot of games back then, I could actually sit down, I can still sit down and go through this game from start to finish. I got it all memorized, I still do. I played it so damn much, you know? So, early memories playing Ghouls and Ghosts, god damn, that was awesome. Obviously, there's a lot more Genesis games, but I just want to talk about some of the early launch types of games. This came out just after the launch, and I was waiting for this game. I think you know, there was so many kids waiting for this game, and that was Golden Axe. Based on a wonderful arcade game, and I used to play the arcade game up at my 7-Eleven, and I loved that. Me and all my friends used to play it. We loved it. And to get a Genesis version of it at home, you didn't have to go to the arcade. You could play this game at home. I can't stress enough, back in 1989, that was a huge, huge deal. So when I did get Golden Axe and I was playing it on the TV at home, it felt like a privilege. I thought, wow, Golden Axe is just stupendous. Really nice conversion of it, really nice graphics. They did a good job of the sound and all of that. I'm a big fan of Golden Axe on the Genesis. Now that was my launch period of games. The great thing that I picked up just after Christmas, I remember I picked up Revenge of Shinobi and Alice Kid, but I also at that time I picked up this, and that was the Power Base Converter. And what this allowed you to do, you flip the top there, you put it on top of your Genesis, click it down. Now you can play Sega Master System games right on top. For me, at the time, I could play my Wonder Boy games, my Phantasy Star 1 game, Golvelius, Miracle Warriors. There's a host of amazing games. Wow, what a great device. So now, all I had to have was one machine. I didn't have to pull out the Master System. I had one machine to rule them all, and that's all I needed. This was absolutely stunning. God, could I sit here and talk for another hour on all of the wonderful games that came out for the Genesis? You damn right I could. There's, you know, Streets of Rage, Sonic, I just have to look back, Kadash, I could go on forever here, you know, Exile, Truckstorm, Mystic Defender, Shining in the Darkness. The list goes on and on and on. Never mind the Phantasy Star games, ugh, it goes on forever. I'm telling you, I'm older now, but I am so happy that I grew up when I did, and I got to experience gaming like I did back then. When arcade games were coming home to the home consoles, was an incredible time, a really great time to be a gamer, and I wouldn't take that away from myself in the least. Video games now are wonderful, but remember, this is my era of video games, and one that I treasure and will always adore for the rest of my life. So, guys, I just wanted to show, you know, my Genesis and a few of the launch games and talk about some of my memories playing it. And hey, if you want, leave a video response. I would love to hear some of your memories first playing the Genesis. God damn it, what a great time. So, anyways, guys, Until next time.